Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artika.
And I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, season 13, episode 15. And that episode is titled Memory Lane and a Dirty Little Secret. If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Who you want to start with?
Let's go with Jose and Rachel.
All right. So we start off going to Jose's childhood home. And they talked about the differences in their money beliefs. Jose definitely kept saying, you know, we built this house and my mom picked this neighborhood, or his parents picked that neighborhood because he was going to go to a good school.
Yeah.
And, you know, go to college and all of these things. And he did mention, and this was something that stuck out to me during the conversations at his house, was that they had to eat rice and beans a lot. And he always felt like rice and beans meant poverty.
Yeah.
And Rachel was like, I just thought that was like super Hispanic.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's funny because obviously not Hispanic.
Right.
But
right.
I grew up eating rice and beans a lot. And my grandmother's rationale for the amounts of rice in the household was that it fed a lot of people for a little bit of money. Because my grandparents together had 8 kids. And with them having so many children, it was just really difficult to say, okay, we're going to buy all of this exotic food, blah, 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 yada. I don't even want to say exotic, but just like this expensive food where you have all of these mouths to feed, and rice and beans go a really, really long way.
Right.
And so I look at it in the same way as Rachel. I never thought of rice and beans as socioeconomic because Hispanics eat rice, Asians eat rice. Like everybody eats rice. Like it's just a thing. And Jose equated it to being poor.
Like that's the thing that I've noticed. I felt like it was like stuck out more this season than any other season. Not saying that their story is not valid and stuff like that, but they're like, what's the word? It feels like they're, I grew up poor. Like, I can't think of the word, but it's like you put it on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. Like
you're magnifying your poverty.
Right. Like it was a cool thing. Like, yeah, a lot of us had to grow up that way, like not having everything we wanted. But, you know, who always thought that was a thing, you know? No. Like growing up, you never thought, oh, I was poor. Me personally, I never thought that we were poor. It was just a way of life.
And even now, I don't think that I grew up poor, but I really like rice.
But it's funny because I don't want to take anything away from his thought process. But rice and beans is not for me, it's not a poor thing. But for him, he's looking at the situation as, okay, we had to eat rice and beans all the time, but y'all had a house.
And that's what Rachel was saying. And like, that's one of the things that was for me. Like, okay, you guys could afford to get a home. And not to say that, you know, you can't be house poor, because my mom talks about that all the time to this day. But like, you could talk about not having enough money to do certain things. But I don't know. Rice and beans just never.
It's just thing. A questionable thing to be like, oh, this is what made us poor is because we ate rice and beans. But you got people out here that barely have a place or have no place. Right. You know, don't have clothes or have to wear clothes that their big brother or big sister has worn. You know what I'm saying? So like his idea of poor or poverty was not realistic to most people. Yeah,
it was very different.
Yeah. I love Rachel's response to it though. Like, she straight up told him, like, hey, I just always thought it was a part of our culture. Mm-hmm. You know?
And that's what I would think.
Like we eat rice and beans because we eat rice and beans. That's just it.
Like, we don't eat beans in our household very often currently, but we definitely eat rice a few times a week because I like rice.
Yeah, we definitely eat rice.
Bought a whole pressure cooker, so I don't have to make it on the stove. So after they leave Jose's childhood home, they meet up with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper joked with them about the signs on the refrigerator, which was mostly directed to Jose and things that he needed to do differently. Active listening, yada, yada, yada. She did ask Rachel, if Jose is working on these things, what are you working on? She's like, I'm perfect.
Right.
Like, she was joking when she said it.
But she meant it, though. Anyway, go ahead.
So they did discuss growth, and Dr. Pepper asked them about secrets. We obviously knew that there was some type of secret with the suspenseful music that was playing in the background. And then I definitely completely assumed that the music was, or the secret had to do with the night that he locked her out. Which it did, because he was like, she said that she went and saw her ex the night that he locked her out. Mm. So with her going to see her ex the night that he locked her out, she's like, they had to have a conversation about it. And I really am happy that they talked through it. I don't know what the outcome was, obviously, because it wasn't like a mic'd up situation.
Right.
But it was just on the closed caption TV.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things, like, I don't want to say that it's a consequence for his reaction, but it kind of is a consequence for his reaction.
Yeah. I think do you think it was a good thing for her to wait and tell him that? Or do you think it would have been better if she would have just told him in the moment? That's where she went
to. Jose being vindictive, I don't think that there was ever a good time to tell him. I think that had she told him, like that day that they had that sit down conversation when he was having a smirk about it, had she told him then, I don't think that they would have made it as far as they have now. I still think Rachel needs to run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So there's no saving that. But however, I don't think it would have saved it.
I mean, like, I think it was, I think if she would have told him, like, when they were actually talking about it, because he brought it up, he's like, why you wait now to tell me versus, not just telling me then. But I think if she'd have told him then, it would have been, like, worse just because, oh, you called me another guy's name. Now you went over to your ex-boyfriend's house and God knows what you did there.
Oh, no, definitely. That's why I say I don't think that it would have. I think it would have changed the trajectory and they would have been completely over at that moment. Yeah. Like after the I'm gonna lock you out, I went to my ex's house. There would not have been any resolve between the two of them.
Yeah.
And with there not being any resolve with the two of them, I think that, they would have unhappily called it quits, because Jose would have used every moment that he could to talk crap about her.
Oh, for sure. I think he's still holding things. We've yet to see it, but I think them talking to each other, and really going through some stuff. I personally don't think that, like, I'm with you. I think Rachel should say no. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. They seem to kind of understand, like, how to approach things with each other, or starting to understand. Because that's something Rachel said to Dr. Pepper, was that she now lets him get it off, like, cool down, and then they talk about whatever it is that they was trying to talk about or whatnot. So,
yeah. Let's see. Rachel said that there's tension in the relationship after she revealed that the ex picked her up the night that she got locked out. We've already talked about that, and that's pretty much all I wrote for them.
Yeah, I have nothing else.
All right. So you gonna do Gil and Mirla next?
Let's do it.
All right, so they go to Gil's childhood apartment, and he took her back to the apartment where his father was killed. And I don't think that I could have done that.
Yeah.
TV show or not, because I mean, I guess it depends on how long it's been since he's been back there. Has he been able to, like, obviously he's been able to deal with the death through whatever measures, whether it be therapy. The way that he talks about it, I feel like he is okay and at peace with everything that happened. But like going back, looking at the apartment, recanting how things happened, like would have been really, really hard for me. Myrla was not able to take him back to, I guess, where she grew up, but she did show him a picture after they played volleyball, which she was like, I want you to understand, like, I was an athlete. I was competitive. And that translates into her professional life. She did show him, she said the earliest memory that she remembers of a place was this one room home that they stayed in. And I don't remember how many people she said stayed in this house, because I know she mentioned her mom, her brother, her younger sister, and whomever else was in the house. But she was like, we grew up really, really poor, and that's why I am the way that I am. Which is one of those things. People usually take lessons from their childhood one or two ways. Either they try to stay in the same cycle that their family has been in, or they're like, I guess it's one of three ways, or they try to like elevate and do greater things because they don't want to go back to that place. Myrla is a person who does not want to go back to poverty. Right. She's like, nope, not doing it. Chanel was for me. So they sit down and they meet with Dr. Pepper, and they talk about Myrla's moods. Obviously, we're not in the room with Myrla, but a lot of the times I feel like he's prompting her to be moody as of at least the last few episodes. Like he's prompting her to give a critique about something that she's not necessarily saying anything about. Yeah. I don't like that.
I get it. You know, with Gil, it's like, it's one thing that I was talking, I don't forget who I was talking to about it, but I was like, when you have an attitude or you're upset about something, it ruins the moment for the whole house. And I was like, my attitude can be like, I can be upset or mad about something and it only affects me. But when my wife gets mad or upset about something, it affects the mood of the house. And that's the way I look at it when
I disagree, but okay. I'm not saying mine doesn't, but I do believe that yours does too.
Oh, okay. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm like, I understand where Gil is coming from when he talks about her moodiness and stuff like that. It's so it's like when he brings it up, it's like one of those things. It's either he's gonna have to get over it. Or, you know, if she's willing, like she seems to be willing to work on it at some point, you know what I'm saying? Like working through it at some point, he just makes her aware that, hey, this is what's going on and this is what bothers me. But the biggest thing is it's how different they live their lives, or how they spend their money is basically what I see as the biggest issue that they're having right now.
That's because Gil is making it a bigger issue than it needs to be.
Right. I think so.
Myrla has said that shopping brings her joy. Fully understand that. Like, nothing makes me happier than finding a good deal. Yeah. However, she's in a position financially where her good deals or her things that she's looking for, just happen to cost more than what he would be spending on it.
Right.
I don't think he knows if she spends full price. I don't think that he knows if
it's not that he doesn't know. It's for him. It doesn't care. He sees designer this, designer that. That's expensive.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, I can understand that. However, as a person who has worked retail with designer items around, like I know that everything is not full price that a person buys. Like people go in and will buy things out of season. They'll buy last season's whatever.
Right.
To say that they got X,
who knows?
Y,
she
Z.
could be popping tags.
She could be buying stuff off of Poshmark. We don't know.
That's true. But I think that's what, like you said, like Gil's making it a bigger issue than it needs to be, because like once you really start get the gears going into your marriage and your relationship, importance of things change. You know, and so you have to bank on like, no, it's not that you want to jump inside of her, like stop her joy. You want her to be more conscious of what your guys' goals are, but I mean, everybody got their vices. Hers just seems to be shopping for whatever she wants. Like
she likes shoes. She likes purses. She likes clothes.
Right.
That's her thing. Whatever. I don't think that getting married should lessen your lifestyle.
No,
I think it should enhance it.
Right.
And she's basically saying, I was doing this before you. Why do I have to stop doing it with you?
Right.
You should be enhancing my life. And when I look at like the situation of spending money, it's really true. If you were paying, and I'm just using nice round numbers, obviously. If you were paying $1,000 in rent and I was paying $1,000 in rent, why do we now have to go down to only spending $800 in rent? That doesn't make sense.
We don't have to do that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you shouldn't need to do that. If we found a place that was $1,200 in rent after we were both paying $1,000, we have $800 now to put somewhere else. Let's throw in an electric bill. Let's throw in a gas bill. When you start looking at the finances from that point, now everything that we save by us living together can now go into a pool of savings. And that still doesn't interrupt what one person was doing versus the other. Like you get to your savings goals differently.
I just think they need to revisit the finance question and just revamp that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I don't have anything else for them. Do you?
No.
All right, so we'll go to Brett and Ryan since the episode ended with them, and we're finally over this 4-episode arc of you're on dating sites.
Yeah.
So Brett and Ryan go fishing, and during fishing, they talk about their childhood outlooks on marriage. And it's interesting to say that to hear Ryan say essentially that he didn't have any positive views of marriage, and his parents are married.
Yeah. He did say that.
Like, I thought that was very, very telling. Like, what is it about your parents that you didn't view them as a positive marriage?
Right.
Are they just married on paper and not living together? Are they unhappily married? Did you never think about them being married? Because like meeting your family, one of the greatest vantage points of marriage that I saw in your family was your grandparents. You say the exact same thing. So like to see that in action was like amazing.
Yeah.
And then he's in the house with 2 people that are married, and it's like, what are you doing?
Like,
nobody likes each other.
You didn't get the memo?
Nobody like what is the memo?
Right.
So they were talking about that, and let's see, they ended up having a picnic after they went fishing, and they shared their letters to their younger selves. I thought that there's been no time that I thought Brett and Ryan, in the last like maybe 4 episodes, that I've been like, oh, they're going to work it out. I thought that they could, but I never thought that they were going to.
No, I thought they were done.
That's what I'm saying. I thought that they could.
Yeah.
Because his hang-ups were like very, very aesthetic. And he wasn't getting to know her. He was just like, oh, she's got red hair. Oh, she doesn't look like the girls that I used to date. Yeah. And it wasn't anything like, with the exception of her being messy, it wasn't anything about Brett herself that he didn't like. And messy, you can fix messy. You can get a maid. Can you not?
Yeah, you can, man.
Oh, okay.
Who wants to pay for that? But I really thought they were like, Brett was clocked out, Ryan never clocked in, and you know, it's just like now it just feels like they're going through the motions.
Oh, they are. No, and I'm completely agreeing with that. But you see what I meant by the like, there was nothing inherently wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought anything was wrong.
That they could not like get on the same page.
Right.
Ryan is just refusing to get on the same page. And Brett's like, I'm just buying my time because I'm in a contract. I'm contractually obligated to finish this relationship out. So they go back to Ryan's apartment and she told him that she was going to share photos from her childhood, but then she got a text message 10 minutes ago that said he was on a dating app and he matched with one of her friends. And he was like, what?
No, he told her he wasn't going to activate it until after they were done. I was like, dog, man, you just couldn't
downloaded this app. I want to date other people.
Right.
But I'm just not going to do it right now. Give me 8 days.
Right. Right.
You couldn't wait the 8 days to download the app?
It's like, this dude here is something else.
And I mean, at that point, Brett handled that very, very well.
The best way she could.
When he texted her after, he was like, I can show you. It's not activated, but it's on your phone.
You downloaded it for a reason. Like, you had to go in and download the app. It's like, Ryan had nothing to say.
No. I mean, he knew that he had been like outed, and the thing with that is, it's like, okay, do you, boo? Yeah. You want to get on dating apps? Okay, cool. Wait until we at least finish the process.
Right.
Even though we know what the outcome of the process is going to be. Now we don't even have a chance to even be friends after this.
Right. Can we finish first?
No. Ryan says, no, we cannot. I got to find me a hot blonde.
Right after this. It's like somebody that smokes cigarettes that can't smoke for like 4 hours and they just need one, so they got it in their ear.
Like they stuck in a car with somebody who's like, nope, can't smoke that around me.
Right.
And they like, wait until we get there.
Right. Wait till we stop and get some gas or something. Fire this thing on up.
He sent her this weak apology text message. Basically, if I offended you,
I'm sorry.
Like, what going on somewhere?
But I wasn't going to activate it until after decision day.
Right.
And all I was thinking was, well, what if she decided she wanted to stick it out?
He didn't. He never did.
Obviously, so. At this point, she's like, no.
All right. So you done with them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to go Johnny and Bao or Michaela and Zach? Who would you like to end with?
Michaela and Zach.
You want to end with Michaela and Zach?
Yeah, let's end with
All right, so Johnny and Bao. Johnny and Bao tried to make small talk at the producer's direction about the weekend, and it was very awkward. Like so much so, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
They go back to to Johnny's childhood home. They did not go into the home, but they did stand in the driveway and have a conversation about it. Johnny shared some photos and he read his letter to himself, his younger self. And he really does have daddy issues.
Yeah.
We knew that he had daddy issues, but it's like, girl, you need to go see somebody and talk to them about this. Your dad, perhaps, because he is still living. And your mom as well, because it seems like part of the issue was he felt like his dad continued to try and his mom was like, it's a no for me.
Yeah.
And I think that he did blame his mom for
like not having his dad.
Like not wanting to be with him.
I still think Johnny's just a trash human being.
He is. Not disagreeing with you.
I ain't
even
gonna say, like, I don't know how he is outside of, just
this show.
being a regular human being, but he's so terrible to Bao.
Mm-hmm.
Like it irks me how bad he treats her.
And it's like the thing is that if Bao is such a terrible person, give us something that she's been terrible about. Because the things that he's been mentioning, it's like it's very, I can see why you're saying that, but that's not a reason.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Bao says she cooks these gourmet meals and he's like, we cook them together. Technicality that you're there. Does that mean that she's not cooking?
Right.
So that means you didn't cook it either.
Yeah.
So it's technicalities in things that he says. And if cooking food with you makes me an awful person, then by all means, hope somebody sprinkles some rat poison in it or something. Because it's just like, what is your problem?
Right. I just think like his response, it was even funny watching it. Not funny, but it just, the feeling of him watching, like, where Bao had took him to where their house was in that field, and him, like, his response to it saying, "Oh, I wish I could see it," and just he just felt like he was just being condescending to her right then and there.
Right, like she's like, "Well, I have a picture. I can't control that this place no longer exists."
Right.
She was like, "It was a trailer. It was 50 years old when my dad bought it. What am I supposed to do with this?"
I don't know, man.
He's just an actual factual jerk. So she wrote a letter to her younger self about her dad's PTSD that she didn't know was PTSD as a kid, which I get it. Like, why would you know that?
Right.
And as she was sharing her letter in his confessional, he's like, her letter to herself made me think about myself. I'm like, way to make things about you, Johnny.
Right.
She's talking about her dad and his struggles, and you're like, oh, this makes me think about my parents. Bao did have me concerned when she was talking about she used to burn her generic Barbies.
That's what she said?
Yeah, I was like, you okay? You want to talk about this? Like, we need to go a little bit more in depth about this burning the Barbies.
That part I just kind of like overlooked.
So they met up with Dr.
Why would she tell somebody that?
Basically say, don't try me.
Oh, Lord. Go ahead, man.
So they meet up with Dr. Pepper, and during the conversation with Dr. Pepper, Johnny says that he talked to Bao's friend Sarah, and Sarah had a lot to say about Bao very negatively. And Bao was like real deal hurt about that whole conversation.
Because she was blindsided.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'm not saying she wasn't supposed to be hurt.
Yeah.
She like explained to him that the reason that I have not shared information with Sarah about our relationship is because Sarah's first thing to do is to walk away. I wanted to try to have a successful relationship, so I confided in people who have successful relationships. Yeah. Sarah is not one of those people.
Hurt people.
Right. And obviously Johnny felt good enough to talk to this hurt person, so they gravitated to each other on that. And
it's almost like asking a single person for advice on something they're not like. Would you take advice from a single person? Like, pertaining to your marriage? A single person that has never been married before.
I can't even say about the single person. I would even go a step further and say that it's like asking a person who's never been around a child for advice on potty training.
That is such a great analogy, man.
Have you done it?
You really outdo me all the time.
Have you tried it?
How do you know?
And it's not even just say that you don't have kids, but like you've never been around a kid.
Yeah, to even do potty training.
Yeah, to be like, well, my mom's...
Have you ever even changed a diaper?
Exactly. Things like that. I would take it a step further with that. So I don't know. Like, Johnny's trash. That's all I got. You done with them?
Yeah.
All right. So start with Zach and Michaela. Zach and Michaela they said that they were going to have separate meetings with Dr. Pepper. Turns out Zach had a meeting with Dr. Pepper by himself, and then Michaela joined. Yeah. Dr. Pepper is calling herself essentially a facilitator between the two of them. So Zach comes in. Dr. Pepper asks him questions about if he's talked to Michaela since they left the resort or the retreat. That's what it was called, the retreat. And he says, nope, she's text, she's called. I'm not answering anything.
At this point, Zach's fed up with her. I can't take this no more.
Zach can't be too fed up, but whatever.
Yeah.
There's something going on behind the scenes between the two of them that's not just sex. And we gotta, that's the gray area we're missing. To
figure out.
Yeah, that's the gray area that we, the viewers, are missing. So he tells Dr. Pepper the story about how they agreed to get a divorce and then date each other. Dr. Pepper was like, what? And that's when I was like, exactly my thought process. You think I'm stupid.
What sense does that make?
It's like, okay, you get a divorce and then you date. Why the divorce? Because if the experiment is the issue, the experiment includes, but it's not limited to divorce. Not divorce. The experiment includes, but it's not limited to marriage, cameras, and then having to do these exercises that are given to you by production.
No, I just think what it is divorce is a freeing right now for them. And instead of being married and being tied to each other, the experts put us together for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. Let's find out what that reason was, because at this point, they don't know why they were matched. You know what I'm saying? Like, or at least I don't know why they were matched. But like, he's just thinking, let's remove the tie of marriage, because the big emphasis is we're married. Let's remove that, but let's date. Let's, remain to be friends and stuff like that, just so we could figure out what it is. And then that may lead us to get married again or something else. But the tie is gone.
My thing is,
the chain is broken.
The thing is with that, you can stay married and still date, because at this point, they're like, after the show is airing and they still have to be married. They can't file for divorce until the season is done. Oh. So that's part of their contractual obligation, because people are nosy.
You did a lot more research than I did.
My cousin has added me to Married at First Sight groups. But it's really, the reason is because people look up public records. Divorces are public records. Well, if there's a whole show about did they stay married, because that is literally what Decision Day is. Are they going to stay married?
Yeah.
If you go and you file for a divorce during the season, the public knows the outcome. So if your thought is, oh, we'll just divorce, that means that you're not planning on talking to me until 6 to 8 months after Decision Day. What are we doing here?
Right.
They're both nuts. So
Michaela comes in.
No, before that, he told Dr. Pepper that he called his exes and asked about him in conflict, and they said, you run. And I'm like, you had to call people that dated you to know this?
Had to figure it out.
Because him and Johnny have been the track stars of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tommy said Michaela comes in. Michaela sits down and she has on her, I don't even know how to describe what she had. She had her, I have been trained in public relations voice on. Let me tell you the story because this is how it happened. And oh my goodness, I don't know how that happened. Like, do you see?
Yeah, she definitely changed her whole tune from the last time we saw her.
So the thing that has everybody up in arms is Michaela says that Zach has never seen her. What was the word? React?
Yeah. We just gonna go with react crazily.
Sort of has a little bit of truth to it. The only reaction that he has seen that we have seen.
Proof of her blow-ups.
That's what it was. The only one that he has seen that we too have seen was at the house. I mean, at the retreat.
Yeah.
When he was attempting to leave. And she could argue that one as, I was trying to keep you safe and you were adamant on leaving. The other blow-ups have literally just been her throwing Clorox wipes and what was the other one? Oh, after he left. Her knocking over the foosball table and the bench and all that stuff. So it's like, okay, he hasn't seen me react. And the general public is like, what? Because Tommy paused the TV and was like, I know she's not doing this. I know she's not doing this. And it's like, okay, yeah, she can say he hasn't seen these blow-ups. Okay, whatever. He hasn't seen these blow-ups. That doesn't mean that they didn't happen, and that doesn't mean that he didn't feel a way about them. I think what they both have to look at is how did they contribute to these rifts in their relationship. I don't think that since he came home from the honeymoon that he has been all in with her. I don't know what about the honeymoon made him not be all in, but since the honeymoon, it doesn't feel like he's been all in with her.
I think it was the first blow up that she did when he went out and walked the dog. That's when he was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door. When she was explaining, like, he left her and, you know, he hadn't seen her blow up and stuff like that. Zach was like, I can't take this no more. I'm going home.
She lied.
Right. That's basically what that walkout was. She lied.
She is lying.
And the truth ain't in her. So when he left, Dr. Pepper actually stayed and talked to Michaela, and she brought up the fact that she basically is punishing him with her abandonment, and like she feels abandoned because her dad died, and she's throwing that off on him. And that was something he talked to Dr. Pepper about when he talked to her about him being a perfectionist, and he's putting that out on her.
Right.
So it's you know, they're putting these emotions on each other and causing these rifts in their relationship. And she was like, Dr. Pepper honestly gave her some good advice, like try to figure out, like, deal with that part.
Right. She did ask her also, did she regret anything? And she said she regrets having panic attacks. I said, girl, so we calling rage a panic attack? Because throwing a Clorox wipe is not a panic attack. Knocking over a bench is not a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like, what are you panicking about that you're having a panic attack? You were pissed off and you like blew up on things around you because you couldn't blow up on this person.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't understand it. I'll never understand Michaela and her issues, but I also won't understand Zach and his.
Yeah.
So later on in the episode, Zach and Michaela have a closure meeting with Dr. Pepper. I was like, him walking out, that wasn't closure?
Right.
Like, what we closing on?
What else? What we got to talk about?
So she told Zach she told Dr. Pepper, because the basis of this meeting was, you talk to me you talk to me. Don't talk to each other.
Right.
So Michaela says that she fought for the relationship and she's really tried. And Dr. Pepper asked them, did they give each other enough affirmations? And Zach was like, yeah, that's all we did. Like, Michaela's amazing. Michaela's great. Zachary's great. We're all great. Everybody's amazing. And she's like, well, what's the problem? If everybody's so great and everybody's so great when they're together outside of arguing, why are you having these arguments? Dr. Pepper asked him about the things that they could have done differently, and nobody has an answer. And I think that goes back to my question from last week. At what point did you decide this isn't going to work? Because if it was the leaving to take the dog to daycare and Michaela's like, I'm moving out, what could the two of you have done differently? Because I think that's what the issue is nobody wants to admit where they were wrong.
Yeah.
What could you all have done differently to get on the same page with each other? Because him leaving to go take his dog and seemingly, because we two sides of the same story, right. You not answering text messages, you not answering phone calls. Which one is it? Were you or were you not?
Were you not? Yeah.
Michaela's like, oh, you not answering my messages after you left. I'm gonna move out. Why did you think that you needed to move out and not have a conversation? What were the text messages like between the two of you guys? Were you cursing him out? Or was it, hey, where are you? Because there's a scale of 0 to 10. Where did you fall on the I'm crazy scale with these text messages? So I guess that's one of those things. It's like, you can't go back and repair that, because at this point, I can't even say that Zach is checked out. There is something, probably sex, has to be more than sex though, that makes Zach keep saying we're going to try. Maybe it's the cameras.
I just think Zach doesn't want her to be mad at him for anything. Like, he doesn't want to be at fault. Reason why this didn't work. And he wants to make sure that, okay, this didn't work because it was her. I knew I wasn't crazy. Type of deal. Like, you know, that's what I like. My notes say, it was like, what's the point of this conversation? He's just like, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you. That's a sign that he just doesn't want her to be mad at him.
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper asked him to hold hands.
That was the weakest hand hold I've ever seen in my life. It was like this.
Yeah, like, asked him to hold hands, and Michaela's trying to put up this big front of like she's stern with her decision and stuff like that. But Michaela said something to Dr. Pepper after Zach said something, and she was like, you see why I'm so confused? I was like, yeah, I see why you're so confused, because Zach is confused.
Zach is like, I don't want to do this with you, but I really want to talk to you, right?
Yeah, he was like, somehow we got to decision day, and he was like, I would say yes on decision day. If she's willing to talk to me or something like that. I was like, how did we get to decision day? Like, what's going on here?
Just the last blow up was literally because we're saying no on decision day.
Earlier in the episode, we was at no, but now we're at a yes.
The last 2 episodes, we've been at no on decision, because we was at no before the resort.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I don't know, like from that part, I was like, Zach just doesn't want her to be mad at him. And he's going to do whatever he can to make sure that she's not mad at him.
Zach is still trying to make sure he can get some sex.
He probably could.
Through the finalization of the divorce.
Yeah. But I think that's what that whole conversation. And Dr. Pepper was like, well, I think that's good, you know? Like, I guess I don't really understand the purpose of that whole conversation.
Dr. Pepper is kind of like, all right, y'all both are crazy. Let's try to figure out the way to eliminate as much of the crazy as we can so that you guys can attempt to be with each other. Whatever that looks like, whether you be friends with each other, divorced friends with each other, married to each other. My goal here is to just basically make sure that y'all don't leave out of here without trying. And again, like, there's something between the two of them that has made them both be like, this is a good person. Because if Zach had seen all of these blow-ups, he wouldn't be like, Michaela's a good person.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, the argument of he's never seen me blow up like this. You're right. He hasn't. It's been all on the CCTV in the apartments and in the ranch that we've seen it. But Zach hasn't seen any of that. And obviously the craziness in the text messages hasn't been that bad because he keeps coming back. It can't just be sex that's making him keep coming back.
It's a sense of he don't want her to be mad. But somehow we ended up with them on decision day, him saying yes. And eventually they ended the conversation. He was like, hey, you want to go... After this, you want to go get something to eat and talk. And, you know, they were laughing and stuff like that. And then they eventually got on the elevator together. And it looks like they wasn't talking to each other once the elevator doors closed. Well, I'm pretty sure they said they couldn't be on the elevator and not talk to each other. So I don't have any more for Zach.
They're crazy. So, one more episode to decision?
I think so.
I think so. Next week's episode is oh my God, we got to talk to each other because we got some big decisions to make.
Tomorrow is decision day. It's next episode, I believe.
Yeah. Michaela and Zach should not be together.
Nah.
Johnny and Bao are not going to be together.
I don't think those two couples, I think, Zach and Michaela for sure, I don't think they married at first sight was the good idea for them. Just because I think they have...
I don't think Zach or Michaela should have done Married at First Sight. I think Bao could have done it. She just needed a better partner.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I think they have other issues that they really need to figure out before Married at First Sight was their idea. I think
Start this sentence off.
I think Johnny and Bao, I just think Johnny just had the wrong idea of marriage. I think Bao would have been perfect for it, but and all that.
Mirla and Gil. I think that Gil needs to stop harping on this financials part of their relationship because
it could be a sense of Gil not being comfortable that he makes less than her.
It could be, but harping over where she wants to stay and the amenities that she feels like she needs.
Like, how do you deal with that? I guess that could be one of our podcast topics. Like, how do you deal with, like, does it do something to his manhood that he makes less than her?
I don't know.
Something like that. So
I don't know.
Who
else is there? Brett and Ryan. Ryan, just stop getting on dating sites while you're in the middle of it. 8 weeks. You couldn't go 8 full weeks without going on a dating site. We literally got a week left. We made it 7 weeks and you just couldn't do it. And then who else is there? Rachel and Jose. I think that Rachel and the ex-boyfriend are going to end it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny was the beginning of the end, and then this other guy's just gonna kill it.
Yeah.
So, as my cousin likes to always say in the comments, we're 0 for 5 this season. I think that we could be 1 for 5 if Gil switches his way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
As far as long term, I'm not talking about decision day. As far as long term, I think that they could be a match for each other, but Gil is just going to have to get comfortable with the way Mirla does things.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
Oh, okay.
You got anything else?
Mm-mm.
All right. If you haven't already, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Peace.